Our trees have come, and people, I could not be more thrilled. I was not expecting this. For the price that we paid, I was expecting seedlings, like 6 to 12 inch seedlings. I was not expecting 2 to 3 foot. Some of these are pushing 4 feet tall whips, essentially, is what I would call them. When I was shopping around online at different nurseries, anything that was 2 to 3 foot tall, they wanted $1.50, $2 plus a tree. And I'll just remind you, we paid 50 cents per tree for these, and that included the shipping to Texas. So I was just going to show off here and show you what we got, because I couldn't remember in the intro video. 100 Eastern red cedars. Probably didn't really need to buy those, and there's a couple others in here that we didn't need to get. I told you guys I was going to explain some of our long-term plans, and I can do that now. So between us and our neighbor here, we have about this 50 to 60 foot wide swath of trees, and it's not, you know, it's pine, so you can see through it and you can see all of our neighbor's junk. And what we want to do with the cedars is basically we'll clear a strip right down the fence about 30 feet wide or so. Excuse me, I've got a cold. And we're going to plant 4 rows of cedar. Okay, now why 4 rows? It's so we can do a staggered offset. So when you see like a privacy hedge and you see the trees, if the trees are all planted in a perfectly straight row, then on cedars that have a conical shape, you've got a kind of a gap between each one. So to fill in that gap, there'll be a second row behind it that is offset halfway, so you get a solid barrier. So there's 2 rows. Why 4 rows? Well, that's so we can space the 2 rows and we can plant them separately, you know, about at least a few years apart, right? Ideally about half the age apart. So say the tree gets big enough in 30 years, you'd want to be on a 15-year offset, so that when the first 2 rows gets harvest size, then you cut them out and the second 2 rows have grown up enough to maintain your hedge. So like I said, it's kind of crazy and maybe it's overthought, but that's one of our plans. And really the cedars was the only one that was complicated like that. The rest of them we plan to just plant, you know, in rows to make a timber farm basically. So what else do we have? We have black walnut. So excited about the black walnut. It does grow down here in East Texas. From what I've gathered from foresters and people that have lived down here, it was either heavily exploited or it was killed off by a blight several years ago. So it's very hard to find big black walnut down here, but it will grow down here just fine. We have swamp white oak, which I'm not sure exactly where that falls on a species. I'll have to research a little bit more. It is a white oak. It's just a hybrid that can withstand having wet feet a little bit better than a true white oak, I guess. We have silver maples. I'm trying to remember why I bought the silver maples. I think maybe in my mind I was wanting to try to see if I can tap them and make syrup. But they will work as a softer quality hardwood for cabinetry, I believe. I think maybe that's what it was. I think maybe my wife said she can do some cabinet work with them. One of our crown jewels here, if you can read that, black cherry, wild black cherry, 100 of those. The plan with those is as they begin to grow and start to mature, they will start to flower and fruit. The flower feeds the bees, the fruit feeds the wildlife, and after so many years, the timber feeds our shop. Shellbark hickory, similar. As it starts to mature, it will start to put on nuts. Those nuts will feed the wildlife, and eventually the timber will feed the shop. Black gum is that is the species name, but a more common name that you might have heard of is Tupelo. Tupelo, from what I understand, makes an excellent honey. So we will get honey all along the way, and then the Tupelo, I believe, does make actually a decent lumber as well. But even if it doesn't, it'll make a at least a general hardwoods variety of lumber, you know, for pallets or whatever. But along the way it'll make honey crops is the plan. Let's see. Redbuds. Redbuds were just for fun. Redbuds we're going to scatter all out here through the understory along the edges. They grow very well as a partially shaded tree understory, so they're mostly just for beauty. And lastly, Osage orange. Osage orange, or some of you may know from the Midwest, hedge apple. Osage orange is a beautiful lumber in my mind. It's an extremely hardwood. It's one of the hardest native hardwoods to the United States, at least to the Midwest. I'm not sure, there might be some other stuff, you know, mesquite and stuff like that's very hard. But Osage orange has a beautiful wood in my opinion anyway. Hard to find decent sized logs. It's a lot like a mesquite. It grows real crooked. It is thorny. It's a nasty little thing. But what we're going to be trying to do with this is actually try to stake it and train it to get very straight trees. We'll see how well that works out. So it's going to be a lot of work. Like I said, you know, this is just, I just wanted to kind of show you what we got on this first round and kind of explain to you what our plan is with each of them. So there should be 10 different varieties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So 10 different varieties here, 100 of each. And I mean, I can't, like I said, I couldn't be happier with the size of these trees. It is absolutely incredible. Now it is going to kind of throw a wrench in our plans on how we're going to plant them, because here I was saying in the first video that we're going to plant them all 6-inch on center. That's not going to work. We'll probably still be able to do about 1 foot on center, so I think we'll be okay. I think we'll still have enough space to plant them all out in the nursery area for now. But yeah, I mean, this is just absolutely thrilling that it is that they are the size that they are. So we're going to get busy. We're going to get the tractor back out and see if we can go loosen up that soil one more time, and basically I'm going to have to cut rows. We had bought one of those little bulb augers because, again, I was expecting little bitty tiny seedlings, so we bought a bulb auger. I think it was a 2-inch, maybe a 3-inch auger. Anyway, it's not going to work. Not for these. They are all bare root, by the way. Obviously, for those of you that have bought trees, there's no way there can be a root ball, you know, bald and burlap dirt on these things. They are all bare root, which is part of why they're so cheap. But that shouldn't be any problem for us. We're going to get them plugged into the ground here right now. For us in East Texas, it is still late winter. The hardwoods haven't really started waking up yet, so we're going to get them in the ground quickly, and hopefully it'll all be okay. I think that was everything that I wanted to cover for this. So let's go try to get them in the ground.